Hey guys, Monster Dust here, and today for this video we're going to be doing a deck profile. I'm going to be doing a Ghostrick deck profile. This is probably one of my favorite decks in the game. I've had this deck for about 6 months now, and I just absolutely love it. So let's go ahead and get started. First off with 3 Ghostrick Jack Frost. He's one of the most important cards of the deck. If your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon him from hand in face down defense and flip your opponent's monster face down. 3 Lantern. What Lantern does is kind of like what Jack Frost does. If your opponent declares an attack, this time either direct or an attack on another Ghostrick you control, you can special summon him face down to negate the attack. You don't do anything to the opponent's monster with him though, but he's still really good. Okay, and then from there we do 3 Spectre. So when Spectre is in your hand, you can special summon him when another Ghostrick you control is destroyed, and then draw a card. So he's like the draw engine of the deck. He's really good for that. Alright, and then we got 3 Ghostrick Mary. If you take damage at all, you discard Mary and special summon a Ghostrick from deck. So normally what you do is discard Mary, special summon Jiangshi. I'll get into Jiangshi later. So next up we got 2 Ghostrick Doll. I really like this card. Basically if it's face down, when it's flipped face up, at the end of the turn, after it was flipped face up, all monsters on the field get flipped into face down defense, and then for each monster flipped down, you can special summon a Ghostrick from deck of a higher level, so like 1 level for each monster. That card is amazing for getting out the XZ monsters, because you can like 1 turn flip it up, special summon level 3 at the end of the turn, next turn special summon another level 3, get out your Alucard, or 2 level 1s for Dullahan, anything like that. She's a great card. Next card is 1 Yukiona. Yukiona, I don't use that much. Often I'll search her with Doll, if anything. When she's destroyed by battle, you flip the opponent's monster that destroyed her into face down defense permanently. It cannot change its battle position except by like a card effect, like Book of Sun or something. But its battle position cannot manually be changed after that. Alright, then finishing up the level 2s, we got 1 Ghostrick Witch. Witch is a pretty good card too. These cards, Witch, Yukiona, and Doll, I'll often use to get out Succubus. What Witch does is just once per turn, you can target a monster on the field. I think it has to be an opponent's monster, and flip it into face down defense. So she's just great for locking your opponent down, especially if you have Ghostrick Knight on the field. Alright, so moving on to the level 3s, here we have one of, if not the most important card in the deck. We have Ghostrick Jiangshi. What happens is, he's 1800 defense, so usually you can keep him on the field for a while. When he's flipped face up, you get to search a Ghostrick from deck depending on the number of Ghostricks you control. If you control 1 Ghostrick, just him, you add a level 1 from deck to hand, and so on. He is just an amazing card. I often get him out turn 1 if I can. Turn 2 if I open up with a Doll. Alright, so next we have 1 Yeti. I just really like Yeti. He's good when you have an XZ monster on the field, because when he's flip face up, target a Ghostrick you control, it cannot be destroyed this turn, by battle or by card effect. It's just, a flip of this guy is just free protection for any Ghostrick, and that is very important. Okay, then we have Ghostrick Stein. When he deals damage, you can add a Ghostrick spell or trap from your deck to your hand. That's the basics of it. Usually I'll do that, then main phase 2 go into Alucard by overlaying him in another level 3, and then pop an opponent's spell or trap. Next we have 1 Skeleton. Skeleton can be pretty great, especially if you're going up against an Exodia deck, because when he's flipped up, you banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down, depending on the number of Ghostricks you control. One card for each Ghostrick. So if you're playing against an Exodia deck and you get even one of their pieces banished, you win. That's game for you. So he's pretty great. Next we have the one Ghoul. Ghoul is pretty good, especially if you're going up against a really like big boss monster. Cause what he can do is target one Ghostrick, it gains attack equal to the attack of all Ghostricks on the field. And that is huge. Usually I'll have a couple like Z monsters out, and then like Ghoul, and whatever monster I target will be upwards of like 4,000 attack. It's amazing. I love this card. That's it for the monster lineup. Now we're going to move on to the 3 scares. This card is really important, especially if your field and your opponent's field are both loaded. Because you activate and you flip as many Ghostricks as you can face up, and for each one you flip that many cards of your opponent's face down. So not only do you get to lock down your opponent by flipping down a bunch of their monsters, you also get free flip effects from your monsters that were flipped up, and that is really important. Next we got 2 Go Round. It's kind of like Scare, but it's continuous, and you can use it once per turn to either flip a Ghostrick face down and an opponent's card face up, or flip an opponent's card face down and one of your Ghostricks face up. Next we have the 2 Ghostrick Knight. This is a great card. You normally would use this after you're activating a Go Round or a Scare. If you control a Ghostrick monster, this stops your opponent from any flip summoning at all. The only way they could get their monsters back up is with card effects like Book of Sun. So that's a great card for the deck. Next up we got 2 Ghostrick Vanish. This card is amazing, because all you have to do, you reveal one Ghostrick in your hand, and no Ghostrick cards you control or face down defense position monsters you control can be targeted or destroyed by card effects this turn. So your opponent, if you activate this, cannot Dark Hole you, they cannot Raigeki you, they can't, if they're playing Burning Abyss, they can't Raigeki break you or anything like that. It's great. I love this card. I love all the cards in this deck. I keep saying that. I keep saying I love this card. I love the deck. Ghostricks are incredible. Next up we got 2 Needle Sealing. This is amazing to activate during your opponent's turn, because normally during your opponent's turn all of your cards will be face down. So if there are 4 or more monsters on the field, destroy all face up monsters. Pretty self-explanatory and a pretty great effect. Because usually if your field is loaded, that's like your next turn is going to be game for you. Next up we got 2 Quaking Mirror Force. This was a very important card. I've been waiting for this card to come out. I finally picked up 2 of them after Breakers of Shadow came out, and I love it. If your opponent's monster declares an attack, flip all of their face-up attack position monsters into face-down defense position permanently. They cannot change their battle position. And for Ghostricks, once you get out your mansion, that's it. The game is over, because you've locked down your opponent. The only thing they can do is tribute those cards away. Next up we got 1 Break. I only run 1 because you really only need 1. I'll search it out with Angel, and then if Angel is destroyed, I activate it. It's when a Ghostrick you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target 2 Ghostrick monsters in your graveyard with a name different from the destroyed monster's name, so it could be 2 of the same name, and you special summon them into face down defense. So normally I would wait till Angel dies, and then special summon 2 Jiangshi, and then my turn get the flip effect, and then overlay into Alucard, and then overlay into another Angel and get it back immediately. So, but like I said, you really only need 1. So, And then this next card, I used to run it 2, but now I only run it 1 because I got the Quaking Mirror Force, and I really don't need to run 2 of this. Black Catastrophe. Basically, I don't use its first effect, but second effect is good. If you control 2 or more face-down defense position monsters, end your opponent's battle phase. That's it, and it's amazing. This has saved me so many times before. Otherwise, I would have put it at 0 and added in a third Quake. But this has saved me, and I love this card. Alright, that's it for the trap lineup. Ghostricks run a lot of traps, I know. Now we got spells. So here's... and people hate on me a little bit for this. I run 2 Ghostrick Mansion. You should run 3, but I've never had a situation where my opponent destroys 2 of them. So, Ghostrick Mansion is the big card of the deck. It's the field card. And what happens is monsters cannot attack face-down defense position monsters at all, you or your opponent. But if your opponent or you control only face-down defense position monsters, monsters can attack directly. But any battle damage done by anything that's not a Ghostrick is cut in half. So this saves you big time. You take half damage from everything, and you deal full damage to your opponent directly. Next up, we got 2 Swords of Concealing Light. This one's pretty self-explanatory. Flip all your opponent's monsters into face-down defense position. They can't change their battle position until your second standby phase after activating. So if you get one of these out, and then get out a Ghostrick Knight, they just can't flip summon. And then if you have a Ghostrick Mansion out, you're attacking directly every turn until you win. So it's pretty great. Last up, we got just 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, because it's a staple. Self-explanatory. Alright, now let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, so for the extra deck, we got 1 number 54 Lionheart. This card is pretty great. If it battles with an opponent's monster, your opponent takes any damage that you take, and if you detach from him, you can make it so that only your opponent takes the damage and you take 0 damage. So he's pretty great. Then up we got number 39, Utopia Roots. It's a pretty good card. If you detach from it, you can negate a monster's attack, and then he gains 500 attack for each rank of that monster. So it has to be an XZ monster or he gains no attack. Personally, I haven't used him that often. I think I've used him like once and he really didn't help. So it's not a very important card. Not as important as anything else in the extra deck. We got 3 Dullahan. He's amazing. He's one of the most important XZ monsters, really, for the Ghostricks. He gains 200 for each Ghostrick card on the field, so the field spell adds to him, any traps will add to him, and all the monsters, of course, will add to him. So, that's pretty good. And then also, during battle phase, you can, or during either player's turn, you can detach to cut a monster's attack in half. So he's pretty great. We got 1 Ghostrick Succubus. She just destroys monsters whose attack is less than or equal to the total attack of all Ghostricks you control. I don't run that many level 2s because I've never really needed this card that much. So I'll go and do her every once in a while when my opponent has a monster I'm having trouble dealing with, but other than that, she's not that important. We got Cat Shark to double the attack of pretty much any XZ monster in this deck. Cat Shark is awesome. I love Cat Shark. Then we got Mech-equipped Engineer. I really don't use them all that much. During either player's turn, you can detach to target a face-up attack position monster you control, change it to defense, and it can't be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn. So it protects you if you don't have any of your traps to protect you. But still, this is good as a backup. Next, we got one of my personal favorite cards in the entire game, not just in a Ghostrick deck. We have Ghostrick Alucard. I run 2. If I can pick up a third one, I'm going to pick up a third one. Alucard is just awesome. He's the rank 3 and 1800. If you detach, you can destroy a set card anywhere on the field. It doesn't have to be a spell or trap. It can be a face-down monster. So when you use things like Ghostrick Go Around or Ghostrick Scare, he can pop those monsters that you just flip face down, and he is awesome. Next up, we got Downard, just because it's a staple. You can overlay pretty much any card I've already shown you to get it. And lastly, to finish up the extra deck, we got Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. I run 3 of them. She's really important because you detach from her, and she can search out any Ghostrick spell or trap. So I usually, if I don't have it on the field already, I'll get out Mansion, and then she can attack directly with her 2000. But also, if you don't care to search out any spell or traps, you can once per turn attach from your hand to her as material a Ghostrick card, a spell, trap, or monster. And if she has 10 materials on her, you win. She's a win condition. She's pretty amazing. I've only been able to do that once. Normally, I'll just search the field spell, search a trap, and attack for game. But yeah, both of her effects are amazing. Alright guys, and that is my Ghostrick deck profile. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you build this deck and have some fun with it, and I will see you guys next time. This is Monster Dust signing off.